Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this morning. It's our history special. Today, we're going to highlight Willie Lanier, formerly of the Kansas City Chiefs, and Morgan State University, the Bears. If you like the video this morning, please comment and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. And if you want to talk about a very special football player that played at a high level, today we got honor, we got respect, we got pride. And I'd like to say this, over the last few weeks, it's been an honor to highlight some special football players that played in the National Football League. First with Floyd Little, Eldridge Dickey, Deacon Jones. It's just been a wonderful, wonderful ride for me personally, because it was the era that I grew up with and guys that I really looked up to and who became my heroes. And today, this gentleman right here is very special in my heart. He's one of the best that's ever done it at the middle linebacker position. And he played at a school up north, because you know I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, the 901, and I'm a big-time Tennessee State fan back in the day, in the SWAC with Grambling, Southern University. Jackson State had a lot of friends that attend them schools. But what Willie Lanier did in the 60s, he put the MEAC and all the black schools in that conference on the map. So it's an honor. It's a pride, it's a pleasure to highlight today Mr. Willie Lanier. Let me talk about Willie Lanier. When you look at Willie Lanier, and we're looking at him in the National Football League, his name really is never brought up. I mean, he gets the respect, but when you talk about great linebackers, we always bring up Lawrence Taylor. We bring up Ray Lewis. We bring up Dick Butkus. But Willie Lanier, his name is mentioned, but it's not really mentioned in that more of a conviction or explosion. You could be outside, you could be in the parking lot, you could be at the barbershop, you can be in the grocery store, and somebody bring up who's the best linebacker to play the game. And everybody will say, well, Lawrence Taylor. Some people will say Ray Lewis. But we tend not to ever mention this young man's name, Willie Lanier. When I think about Willie Lanier, I think about him playing in Super Bowl IV with the Kansas City Chiefs. But I'm going to start off with his accolades. 6-time Pro Bowl, 9-time All-Pro. Man of the Year in the NFL in 1972. Voted to the NFL 100th anniversary team, the highest honor you can get as a football player that's played this great game of years. Played with the Kansas City Chiefs from 1967 to 1977. The first African-American to start at the middle linebacker position. But his life started before he even got to the NFL. The young man started at Morgan State University back in 1966 when he was a part of a great Morgan State team that had an 18-game winning streak. Ended up being 31 games over the course from 1964 to 1968. But this man was the spearhead of that football team that went down to the Tangerine Bowl in Orlando, Florida, played in the first integrated bowl of a black school, playing another white school, which was Westchester, Pennsylvania. And he put on the show and was the most MVP of the game. But what's so ironic about that football game is that the city of Orlando gave much love to Morgan State back in 1966. And believe the young man who was married at the time, let me get my notes. And I'm trying to find my notes with that. And I want to give proper respect. The mayor, I think, was Bob Carr. And what he did, he treated that football team with Willie Lanier and Morgan State like they were royalty. The Morgan State team stayed in the same hotel that Westchester, Pennsylvania did. They was treated with royalty. They ate the same good foods, and they was treated like a bowl team. But that was all special because of this young man was the captain of that football team, the Morgan State Bears, and he played under a great coach in Mr. Earl Banks. And kudos to the city of Baltimore, because y'all should be proud of that football team in 66 and this young man. And part of that football team, they had 11 players that was drafted in the NFL off that team. And you had players like Raymond Chester, Mark Washington, oh my Lord, James Phillips, Isaac Jackson, and this young man, Willie Lanier. Then in the net, once his career finished in 66 with Morgan State getting that big bowl win over Westchester, Pennsylvania, he went into the National Football League. Second pick in the draft. Second round. 50th pick overall, and he went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, when you think about Willie Lanier, I think about his career. I think about 2 games. I'm 9 years old. Kansas City on the Super Bowl run in 1969. First playoff game, they're taking on the defending champs, the New York Jets and Joe Willie Lanier. Well, it's in the 3rd quarter. New York is driving. They have a penalty that goes against Kansas City. It's a pass interference. It's 1st and goal. Kansas City leading the game 6-3, a real critical part of the game. 3rd quarter now. And the Jets try 4 running plays, 2 with Matt Snell. And you know who made every play on that goal line? It was Willie Lanier. And that's when I became a fan. And what Kansas City did, they held New York, the Jets, to a field goal. The summer possession, Kansas City takes it in for a touchdown, and the Chiefs going to win that playoff game 13-6. Then they ended up upsetting the Oakland Raiders in Oakland. Then they play in Super Bowl 4 against the Minnesota Vikings. They came in as heavy underdogs. But that Kansas City team, they had 23 players that was part of black college football, of black schools led by this young man, Willie Lanier. Ended up upsetting the Vikings 23-7. But what stuck out in my mind, Len Dawson played a great game. Otis Taylor played a great game. Mike Garrett played a great game. I'm talking about all the members of the Kansas City Chiefs. Buck Buchanan did his thing. But this young man right here could have easily been the MVP of the game. 7 tackles, 1 interception, and he was all over the field. And that's when I know Willie Lanier was special. His career ended in 1977. He ended with 27 interceptions, 16 fumble recoveries. That's unheard from a middle linebacker position. Then I just mentioned he was the first African-American to start at the middle linebacker position. He was part of a linebacking crew of Jim Lynch that played at Notre Dame, Bobby Bell that played in Minnesota, probably the best trio of linebackers that played in the National Football League for a course of approximately 6 to 7 years. But Willie Lanier is special. And the thing about him, when you give him a grade report with his skills, all you got to think about is fast, agile, disciplined, explosive, because he had the nickname Contact. And looking at his picture right now, look at his helmet. It seems like it's kind of deformed because it's bigger than everybody else. But it's because he had to have extra padding, because he was a guy back in the day. He brought the wood. And when he hit you, you know that he was met by a torpedo. Willie Lanier was special. But this is the thing what I liked about him. He was voted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1986. Voted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2000. But this is what I love about Willie Lanier. As I talk about all these great men that I highlight with my history special. He graduated from Morgan State with a business degree. And after he finished, he's donated so much money to so many other black schools out there, whether you're in the SWAC, whether you're in the MEAC. But 2015, out of his own pocket, he went back and donated $500,000 to the Business Ethics School at Morgan State University. That's special, because after the game, that tells me that he was helping people, that he was doing his thing off the field, and he made an impact in people's lives. Let me say it one more time. I mentioned all the awards and accolades he did on a playing level, but after he finished, out of his own pocket, in 2015, he donated $500,000 to the Business Ethics School at Morgan State University. Well, my final words about Willie Lanier out of Clover, Virginia, and I'm going to read this because this is powerful to me and it touches my soul. Mr. Lanier has these words as I end his video today. Life provides you with opportunities to reflect with the values and principles that have come to define you, and allows you to space to determine what is important in your life. And as Willie Lanier says, it's 2 things important in this life. That's God and being the best man I can be, whether it's on the playing field, whether it's helping people, or whether it's getting my education. So to my man, Willie Lanier, as the great Isley Brothers had that great song in 1977 out, I'm climbing up the ladder. Willie Lanier, you still climbing up the ladder, and brother, you are one of my top 5 athletes of all time. So thank you today for watching me here on 100 Yards of Football as I highlight one of the best middle linebackers to play the game, my man, Willie Lanier, Morgan State finest. In the city of Baltimore, Maryland, where Morgan State is located, you should be very proud of Willie Lanier. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. Thank you for watching here on 100 Yards of Football.